Welcome in, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really hope that you guys are doing well, and I hope you enjoyed the first round of the NBA playoffs as much as I did. So, today, what we're going to do is I'm going to give my reaction to the first round of the NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about each of the series, and I'm just going to give my take and reaction on each of the series. And in the second half of the show, we're going to look forward to the next round, the conference semifinals, and I'm going to give my predictions for each of the series. So the NBA playoffs are amazing, and we're just getting started. So before we jump into all of that, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to other people's lives. So if you guys find value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. Also, hit that like button and make some comments on what you thought of the first round and your predictions on the conference semifinals. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so the first series that we're gonna jump into and talk about, it was probably the least exciting series of the first round. It was the matchup between the number one seed Thunder and the number eight seed Suns. So, as a lot of people predicted, this was a sweep by the Thunder 4-0, and they definitely showed why they were the number one seed in the Western Conference. So, SGA played amazing. He's going to be the MVP this season. And the OKC Thunder, they definitely look like the best team in the NBA after the first round of the playoffs. So, really, not much more to say about this series. Um, I think we all expected a sweep. The Suns maybe could have gotten a game, but the Thunder did not let that happen, and they sweep the Suns in the first round. And they are definitely the most dangerous team in the playoffs. And I think they have the best chance to win the NBA championship this season. So that's pretty much it on the Thunder Suns series. In the next matchup, and this was the series that I was most excited about, and it definitely did not disappoint. So we had the Lakers go up against the Rockets, and this series was full of injuries. So, as we all know, for the Lakers, Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic out. For the Rockets, Kevin Durant ended up getting hurt, and he only played one game in the series. And prior to this, the Rockets have been without Fred Van Vliet and Steven Adams for a long time. So, just a lot of injuries in this series, a lot of uncertainty the way that it would go. And it was definitely a very volatile series. I had predicted that the Lakers were going to win the series in 7 games. Um, so I was pretty close. The Lakers win the series in 6 games, 4-2. And I think I was very impressed by the Lakers in this one. Um, they actually went up 3-0 in the series. And I think that was a big shock to everybody, even with Kevin Durant out for the Rockets. The Rockets still have a very good team. And the fact that the Lakers went up 3-0 on them, I thought was very impressive. And LeBron had an amazing series in this one. But then after going up 3-0, the Rockets, they win 2 games in a row. And a lot of us were a lot of us Lakers fans were worried that the Rockets might be the first team to come back from being down 3-0 and win the series, but the Lakers closed them out in game 6 and it really wasn't too competitive in game 6. So just a very interesting series again with all the injuries. Weren't sure how the Lakers were going to look without Reeves and Doncic. Were they going to get swept by the Rockets? The Rockets were supposed to be pretty good in the series, but Kevin Durant goes out, so you don't know how that's going to work out. So it was just a very volatile and unpredictable series. But the Lakers, they got the job done. Austin Reeves is back from his injury. Luka Doncic will be back in the next series at some point. They didn't need Doncic in this one, so I think that was very impressive. And LeBron put the team on his back, and a lot of the other guys stepped up as well. Like DeAndre Ayton had some good games. Luke Kennard had a monster game. Marcus Smart played really well all series. So just a really good first round series by the Lakers. And let's go ahead and get Luka Doncic back and see if we can shock the world and the Oklahoma City Thunder in the next series. All right, the next matchup we're going to talk about was also a really, really good series. Denver Nuggets versus Minnesota Timberwolves. So this was a matchup between the number 3 seed Nuggets and 6 seed Timberwolves. I predicted that the Denver Nuggets were going to win this series just because I thought Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon were going to be too much for the Timberwolves. But I was really, really positively impressed by the Timberwolves in this one. Um, they had Anthony Edwards get injured in the series, and he wasn't able to finish up the series, and they were still able to close out the Nuggets in 6 games. I thought that was really, really impressive. For the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon was out with an injury, so that definitely was a blow to their team, but still, having Jokic and Murray and all their other role players, I was quite disappointed in the Nuggets in this series. Um, I did not think that the Timberwolves, without Dante DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards, were going to be able to beat the Nuggets. So, really, really impressed by the Timberwolves in this one. Rudy Gobert played really good defense on Jokic. That was an amazing matchup to watch. And I mean, the Timberwolves, they just showed a lot of fight and like strength in this series. They have Anthony Edwards hyperextend his knee. He's out of the series. Dante DiVincenzo tears his Achilles, and the team just didn't have a letdown. The other guys that came in stepped up and got the win. So honestly, I was really shocked by this series. Um, the Timberwolves are really, really athletic. Their defense is really, really good with Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels. So look out for the Timberwolves. This was very, very impressive for sure. And the Nuggets, another disappointing outing for them in the playoffs. Um, we'll see if the Nuggets make some big changes next season. So very, very disappointing for the Nuggets. All right, the last series we're going to talk about in the Western Conference was the Spurs versus Trailblazers matchup. This was a matchup between the number 2 seed, number 7 seed. And in this one, it was a gentleman's sweep. So the Spurs win the series in 5 games. They win 4-1. It was good to see Victor Wembanyama in his first playoff action. He played really well. He had an injury, a concussion, I believe, and we weren't sure when he was going to come back and how he would be affected, but he came back pretty quickly after missing 1 game, and the Spurs were still able to win the series. Um, I think that was pretty good for the Spurs to face some adversity with Wembanyama getting hurt and being uncertain if he was going to come back in the series. So I think that was a growing moment for the Spurs, and they were able to close out the Blazers, who have a really good player in Denny Avdia, who's a future superstar. And the Spurs get it done in 5. So from my predictions that I had, the only one that I got wrong was the Nuggets and Timberwolves series. I had predicted the Nuggets would win, but the Timberwolves ended up winning. But all the other series in the Western Conference, I was able to predict correctly. So that's good to see. So let's go ahead and now move on to the Eastern Conference. So in the East, the first matchup was number 1 seed Detroit Pistons versus number 8 seed Magic. And this was a really good series as well. Um, Somehow it went to 7 games. The Pistons were all over the place. They had some good games, some bad games. The Magic were pretty consistent, and they were able to push the Pistons to game 7, but the Pistons win game 7 and move on. But just after this first round, I am disappointed in the Detroit Pistons just because you don't expect the number 8 seed to push the number 1 seed to game 7 and give them this much trouble. And their big man, Jalen Duren, didn't have a very good series in this round. And Cade Cunningham also struggled at times. So, not the best outing by the Pistons in round 1, but they advance, and we'll see what they look like in the next round. All right, the next matchup was the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Toronto Raptors, number 4 seed versus number 5 seed. And this one also went to game 7. These two teams were very evenly matched, but the Cavs with Donovan Mitchell were able to win game 7 and move on to the next round. And we'll see if these 7 games were a good thing for the Cavs, if they grew from this series, or if they got worn out by having to play 7 games. So in the next round, it was the number 3 seed New York Knicks versus the number 6 seed Atlanta Hawks. The Knicks get the job done in 6 games. The Hawks were dangerous for a couple of the games, but Jalen Brunson and Carl Anthony Towns were able to get the job done in game 6. They win by 51 points, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, margin of victory in NBA playoffs. And the New York Knicks are looking good. I was impressed by them. They played really well, and they move on to the next round. The final game in the Eastern Conference or series that we're going to talk about was the matchup between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. So this was a matchup between number 2 seed and number 7 seed. And we definitely had a big shock in this game. I definitely thought the Celtics were going to win this series just because of Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown and the Celtics 3-point shooting and the Celtics defense. But the 76ers somehow made this series very competitive. Joel Embiid came back in the series, and in game seven, which was very, very tight and very competitive, the Sixers were able to squeeze out the win and win game seven and move on in the NBA playoffs. So, a big, big shock in this series. A lot of people had the Boston Celtics winning the Eastern Conference. Some people had them winning the NBA title, but the Celtics get eliminated in round one, and Joel Embiid and the 76ers move on. So a lot of excitement in the Eastern Conference first round as well. Um, as far as the predictions that I had in this one, again, I got 3 out of the 4 series correct. The one that I got wrong was the Celtics 76ers. I thought the Celtics were going to win, but the 76ers won. So, not bad. I got 3 out of 4 series correct in each of the conferences. So, there's always upsets and unpredictable finishes. So, really, really good first round in the NBA playoffs. Loved all the action, loved the upsets, loved the drama. And now let's go ahead and take a look forward to the conference semifinals, look at the matchups, and make some predictions. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the matchups in the conference semifinals and make some predictions. So the first series is going to be between the number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder and the number 4 seed Los Angeles Lakers. The next series in the Western Conference is going to be the number 2 seed San Antonio Spurs versus the number 6 seed Minnesota Timberwolves. And in the Eastern Conference, it's going to be the number 1 seed Detroit Pistons versus the number 4 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. And finally, the last series is going to be the number 3 seed New York Knicks versus the number 7 seed Philadelphia 76ers. All right, so let's first talk about the most anticipated series. So the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Oklahoma City Thunder, like I mentioned, they swept the Phoenix Suns. SGA playing like the best player in the world, like an MVP that he is. All the other guys are playing really well. Chet Holmgren and their defense is amazing. So, very, very tough matchup for the Lakers. For the Lakers, they played pretty well in the first series. They have Austin Reeves back, and Luka Doncic is expected to be back at some point of the series, probably like in the middle of the series, game 3 or 4. So that's definitely and obviously going to help them out. So this is going to be an interesting series as well. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but I just think the Oklahoma City Thunder are just on a totally different level. Even with Luka Doncic coming back, The Lakers defense is not good at all. And my prediction is that the Oklahoma City Thunder will win this series. I'm going to say they're going to win in 5 games. I'm going to give the Lakers one win in this series. Maybe Luka Doncic comes back game 4, something like that, and he gets a big win for the Lakers. But I would be shocked if this series went more than 5 games. I'm definitely going to be rooting for the Lakers. That's my favorite team. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and all the other guys. But I definitely think the Thunder are just a way better team. And again, Thunder in 5 games, but I'm definitely going to be rooting for the Lakers. And you never know, they might shock the world. Injuries happen all the time, as we've seen. So anything is possible. So let's go Lakers. But I think the Thunder will take care of them in 5 games. All right. The other matchup that I'm really, really excited to watch is the Timberwolves versus the San Antonio Spurs. So the Timberwolves just had an amazing series versus the Nuggets. I don't know how they were able to win with all their injuries. Um, but Anthony Edwards is expected to be back. So obviously that's going to be a big boost for the Timberwolves. And I really like the Timberwolves defense, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, and all the other guys. They're really athletic. So Timberwolves are going to be very dangerous. The number 2 seed Spurs, they took care of the Blazers in 5 games. Victor Wembanyama playing like an MVP. He's just amazing. We've never seen anything like him. And I think the Spurs are very dangerous as well. They have a lot of other good guys like Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Vassell, and other ones. So I think a lot of people are picking the Spurs in this one, but honestly, from what I saw in the first round, I was really, really, really impressed by the Timberwolves. They were able to close out Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray in 6 games while having DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards out. I thought that was really, really impressive. And they're going to get Anthony Edwards back. So I think the Timberwolves are a better team, in my opinion. I think the Spurs are still just a little too young. Um, I think Rudy Gobert is going to be able to play, good enough defense on Wembanyama. So I'm going to pick the Timberwolves to win this series. I think the Timberwolves will win in 6 games. I think the Spurs will get a couple games against the Timberwolves, but I think the Timberwolves defense and Anthony Edwards coming back is just going to be a little too much for the Spurs. So I like the Timberwolves in this one to win in 6 games. All right, on the Eastern Conference side, number 1 seed Pistons versus number 4 seed Cavaliers. I did not like what I saw from the Pistons in the first round. They got pushed to 7 games by the Magic. So that's definitely worrisome. Kate Cunningham didn't have the best series. Jalen Duren had a bad series. So I'm not encouraged by the Pistons. On the other side, the Cavaliers, they also went to 7 games. So both teams had game sevens. But I think the Cavaliers just have a better roster with Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, James Harden. So I think they just have a better squad than the Pistons. And just the fact, again, what I saw from the Pistons in the first round, I don't like that. And I'm going to go with the Cavaliers in this one to beat the Detroit Pistons. Um, I expect this to go, 6 or 7 games as well. I think it's going to be a really competitive series, but I think Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs are a little better. So I think I'm going to go with Cavs in 6 in this one, and we'll see what happens. In the other series, number 3 seed New York Knicks versus the number 7 seed 76ers. The New York Knicks played pretty well in their series against the Hawks. They win in 6 games. They win by 51 in game 6. That was really impressive. And the Knicks just have a really good roster with Jalen Brunson, Carl Anthony Towns, and all the other role players for the Knicks are really good as well. So on the other side, the 76ers, honestly, I'm shocked that they beat the Celtics. The Celtics, again, were favorite to win the East, and also a lot of people had them winning the NBA title. And Joel Embiid did not play this whole series. He came back towards the end of it, and Philadelphia 76ers were able to knock out the Celtics. So this is going to be a really, really good series, Knicks versus 76ers. Honestly, I think it could go either way. I think the two teams are really evenly matched. So as long as Joel Embiid is healthy and playing the whole series, I think I'm going to pick the 76ers to win in 7 games. Very, very tough series, very close, back and forth. So I think the 76ers win in game 7 and move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. So just to summarize my predictions on the Western Conference side, I think the Thunder will win in 5. The Timberwolves will win in 6. So my expectation is that in the Western Conference Finals, that it'll be the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And in the Eastern Conference, I expect the Cavaliers to beat the Pistons in 6 games and the 76ers to beat the Knicks in 7 games. Therefore, the Eastern Conference Finals would be Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Philadelphia 76ers. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be another amazing round in the NBA playoffs. Can't wait to watch all the action and see who moves on to the conference finals. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to cover for today. Just wanted to give my reaction to the first round of the NBA playoffs and my predictions for the conference semifinals. I really hope you guys got some value out of this video and enjoyed the content. If you did, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. Hit that like button and make some comments on your take on the first round and your predictions on the conference semifinals round. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.